Hello world. So last week I put out a video. It was an awful video. It was my first date video of Titan Souls. It was absolutely terrible. It was chopped up, over edited, a piece of crap. I hated it. So this week I recorded some Overwatch, because who doesn't love Overwatch? I love Overwatch. You should love Overwatch too. Jeez. People stop hating on it just because it's good. And anyways, this got me thinking about how much better Homer's The Iliad is than the Odyssey. Ugh! Why does the Odyssey get so much attention? It doesn't make any sense. So with that, here's a very angry rant about why the Iliad is so much better than the Odyssey. Let's begin! Also, a quick disclaimer, in the Iliad, the Greeks are referred to as the Achaeans, so if I let that slip into this video, I'm really sorry. But honestly guys, keep up, Achaeans equals Greeks. And let's get to the first argument. Rah! So what's my first argument? The best argument I can come up with? Well, I've pulled out the two books, and my copy of the Iliad is bigger than my copy of the Odyssey. You might say, fish fillet, that's a really dumb first argument. That doesn't mean anything. But everybody knows that size matters. Jeez, go Iliad, it's bigger. Our next argument. Take a look at my first date Titan Souls footage. It's chopped up, it doesn't follow a timeline, it's just random and all over the place. Now take a look at editing Overwatch footage. It's very easy. You cut out the beginning, boring stuff, you cut out any time you're just walking to the objective, and you leave early as soon as you see the victory defeat screen. That's a literary concept called arrive late, leave early. You want to put as little boring stuff as possible and just only hit the most essential plot points or character development points. The Iliad does this. We show up in year 9 out of 10 and we leave before they even get to the Trojan horse. The Odyssey meanders all over the place. We start like 3/4 of the way through the book, and then we go to the beginning, and then we jump around in there, and then we jump back to the end, and then yada yada yada. It makes no gosh dang sense. The story structure is dumb. Want my next argument? Okay, it's true. Achilles is a man baby. He's kind of a wuss. But Odysseus' name means giver and receiver of pain, and his title, which was given to him by the Greeks, is Palutropos, which means man of twists and turns. Put that together, you get the man of twists and turns who's a giver and receiver of pain. In other words, Odysseus' name marks him as a grade A-hole. Another one. The Iliad is ambiguous. There is no bad or good, right or wrong side. We just have the Greeks fighting the Trojans. Heck, half the time I was rooting for the Trojans because Hector's a really great dad and a really great guy. We see that with him talking with Paris at the very second or third chapter. And even the gods of Olympus can't pick sides. They're split, they're divided, but they're all bound by fate. It's just an accurate portrayal of the horrors of war and how, when people start killing each other, no one's in the right. Odysseus is such an insecure little that he spends all his book talking himself up, making himself the good guy. He removes the ambiguity and makes it just a typical good versus evil, I'm good because I'm Odysseus even though I'm a lying a-hole story. But fish fillet, the Odyssey has cool witches and monsters. The Iliad has a war among the gods, and it's awesome and so much better. Odysseus spends his entire book, the Odyssey, whining about the gods, and gets Athena to do all his dirty work for him, and all his hard work for him. Achilles fights the gods, and he wins. Now that's actually a bad thing in Greek culture, and it's one of the cautionary tales of the Iliad, but still, so much better. And so much cooler to read. Actually guys, quick disclaimer, Achilles doesn't fight all the gods, he just fights a minor river god and does pretty well against him. But just gotta throw that in for accuracy. Achilles shows that sometimes it's manly to change your mind and show real growth of character. He starts off as a man baby, he turns into a complete psychopath, and then he ends up as a compassionate warrior who compromises with a grieving father, Priam, because he remembers his own father isn't going to get to bury him. Odysseus, for being the man of twists and turns, is really just the most consistent character and never really changes, ever. Another thing, Yes, okay, Achilles kills way more people and there's a ton of death in the Iliad, and I understand that can be intimidating, especially if you have a soft stomach. But let's look at Odysseus's crimes. Before he even gets to the Odyssey, he tosses Astyanax, Hector's son, off of a wall, which ticks off Zeus because that kid wasn't supposed to die. He then goes on, stabs the Cyclops in an eye, and then brags about it to Poseidon. Great move, bro. Way to be a jerk and brag about it to the son of a god. You would have gotten off scot-free if you had kept your mouth shut. He then spends the next 8 years, he can't keep it in his pants. He's always wandering around. Seriously, most of the Odyssey is not fun adventuring killing stuff. It's Odysseus sleeping with supernatural women. Because of this, all his men end up getting killed over the course of these 10 years. He goes home to his men's sons, who haven't had their fathers for 20 years, so they're right old little jerks. Instead of showing up with, I don't know, maybe some backup and telling them to knock it off or something, he shows up, locks everyone in a room, and kills everybody. What a jerk! While we're sitting here on Odysseus' crimes, let's go back to that way unfaithful part. The dude is super unfaithful to his wife, but yeah, she just expects him to come back to him. Now, I understand all the Greeks slept around with women while they were off fighting the Trojan War, but Odysseus takes this to the extremes, and that he spends 20 years being unfaithful to his wife, and then at the end, just expects him to take it back. If I did that, my wife would be like, psh, heck no, get out of here, boy, who do you think you are? While we're on the topic of the big SEX, let's look at how each of these books use it to just use it. The Iliad uses SEX. Okay, fine, I'm just going to say it's sex. The Iliad uses sex to drive the plot forward. Hera seduces Zeus to give the Trojans an advantage by distracting Zeus. Zeus was holding the war in the palm of his hands according to the dictates of fate. Hera decided to change that a little bit. The Trojans started winning. It was great. Paris sleeps with Helen in like the first chapter, second chapter, and that leads to the establishment of Paris and Hector's motivations as they're walking back out to the war, and establishes these characters, especially Hector, as someone that we're going to be rooting for the whole time. Odysseus just spends most of his journey screwing. No real point to it. Alright, final argument. Chapter 9 in the Iliad is called The Embassy to Achilles. Achilles has been refusing to fight in the war, actually because Agamemnon stole his girl, so there we go, sex driving the plot forward again. And so Odysseus, Phoenix, and Ajax the Greater all go over to Achilles to try to convince him to fight. Odysseus starts off with a nice flowery speech, being diplomatic, offering gifts, and Achilles just shuts him down. Even the Iliad knows that this guy's at the end just full of crap. Shut down! I didn't sound very angry this rant. Oh well, it was still fun. Anyway, guys, that wraps up my rant. In closing, both books are awesome, and I actually love them. I just like one of them a little bit more than the other one. Both main characters are actually jerks in their own right when viewed by today's modern standards, but the joy of reading classical literature is not in judging it from today's modern standards, but it's in learning about the culture and the times and coming to learn everything that's packed into these books. These books have as much in them as the Bible. Trust me, I've read it both backwards and forwards. People commonly say about the Bible that every time they read it, they find something new. I would argue that the more you learn about the Greek culture, the more you'll find that the more you read the Iliad and the Odyssey, the more you'll find new stuff. Homer really was a brilliant poet, so I would just encourage everyone, I would challenge you to go read something smart and to read it deeply. Do some research, learn what scholars say. You know, if you're going to read the old Greek classics, learn about things like Menon or Kleos, or why do these Greek soldiers fight on an individual fundamental level, and what were their beliefs about fate? What is a god's relationship with mortals and fate? I promise you, if you put in a little bit of effort when reading these books, they'll stop being dry, boring, just things you're forced to read in high school, and they can be really interesting stuff that really helps you out. Also, final thing for the Iliad, as Ajax the Greater, he's a boss. He totally teaches you how to be like loyal and how to just put your nose to the grind and persevere even through hopeless situations, and how to have a good attitude about it and go out like a Bamf. Even though he doesn't go out in the Iliad, he goes out in between the Iliad and Odyssey. Anyways, have fun. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. This video, I tried to do something a little bit different on a suggestion of my so far biggest fan. I hope he always stays that way. Y'all have a good one. Bye.